Welcome to a podcast for nerds, the show where two dudes that met as kids discuss our journey with all things nerdy as well as life near our 30s. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Cody.
And today is our first episode, Cody. How do you feel?
Honestly, Dakota, I don't know about you, but I feel a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
What are you nervous about? Tell me.
I guess because we haven't really done something like this ever before. Those who
We
followed
kind of
us
did in 2020.
Well, those who followed us in the past know that we've done a lot of podcasts, and yeah, in 2020 we did something similar to this, but this one's different, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We have been setting this up for since when? November? Like was the planning
Yeah, we've
phase
been talking
started?
about it since at least November, and then stuff came up that we'll get into.
Yeah, I mean, and even without that stuff coming up, this was always meant to like have a long planning phase, which we never did before. And I guess
it was just impromptu. And, hey, let's talk about this. Okay.
Exactly. I guess that's where the nerves are kind of coming from. It's like we really put a lot of time into planning this one, so it's like if it doesn't turn out right, I mean, it's okay. It's the first episode, like who knows what's
episode
exactly
one.
gonna happen.
Just always assume episode one of anything is going to be trash. Just assume that, and your life is going to be so much better.
This isn't going to be trash, I promise. But okay, assume it, and then hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Right. Like my first episode of Dragon Ball podcast that I do.
I liked it.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, but I'm sure someday I'll look back and be like, ooh, because I'm still finding my footing on that, but...
For sure. Actually, that's a big thing with me is like, it actually kind of upsets me when I look back at my old work if I look at it and I think it's really good. Because then I'm like, oh, have I not improved? Like, I still think this is good? I should be better than this now. Like, I like to always look back and say, oh, this is trash now.
Right.
I think that's healthy. But, yeah, I think I'm nervous because, we put a lot of time into planning this one, and it feels different than anything else we've done together like this before.
It's at least in a while. It's the first time.
I'm sure I was nervous with, like, Nakamacast, or maybe not Nakama, weekday one up, maybe the first weekday one up.
Yeah, those watching are obviously probably subscribed to Nakamacast and are thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, so we changed the channel. If you were subscribed to the Nakamacast channel years ago,
there was nothing on.
Yeah, it's now called A Podcast for Nerds. So this is a podcast for nerds. Welcome.
Hey, how are you? It's very apt in its description, but more than just nerds are welcome.
Yeah, anybody's welcome.
But it is for nerds.
The idea behind this show, before we just jump in and actually get into this first episode, so you guys kind of know what to expect, is more of, the intro really said it all. We're just two dudes, like, discussing life. We can talk about pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be nerdy. But all of it kind of is going to have nerdy undertones, otaku-y culture undertones. And we will talk about things like that. Like, we will talk about video games.
Well, you know me. My humor is all referential.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. You can definitely get something out of this show, this podcast, without knowing anything about nerdy stuff. If you just, hopefully find us charming. But...
like today, our first topic isn't necessarily nerdy, but... it doesn't mean we're not going to talk about nerdy things, because we can do that in Catch-Up Corner.
I'm sure nerdy stuff will get brought up, even, at any point. But that's what I was going to say is, you will, if you know nerd culture stuff, you'll get a little bit more out of this show. You'll understand the references more, and you'll understand, more of it.
But everybody's welcome. We're an all-inclusive podcast.
Well, unless you're racist.
Just don't tell me about it. No, I'm just kidding. If you're racist, don't listen.
Yeah, no, we're all inclusive. Sure. So, how do we get into this? Actually, I did, there was one other time I was nervous doing a show like this. It's the first time me and Izai did a live stream for We Wonder. I don't know why I was so nervous. I'm like, dude, this is going to go bad. And then it was great.
It sounds like you with every panel we ever did.
Was I always nervous?
Oh my God, you were always, not nervous, but you were always just like, I'd always be all hyped about it, and you'd be like, dude, I don't know why you're so hyped. I don't think anybody's going to show up. I'm like, but people show up every time. What are you talking about?
I can definitely see myself saying that. Yeah, I think that was a defense mechanism, right? Like trying to get my hopes down so that if no one shows up, I'm like, well, I knew they weren't going to show up anyway. And then if they do, it's like, oh,
so.
Cool. Yeah.
But we never had crowded, but we always put in, I'd say, at least 20, 30 people in our room.
I think the last panel we did, I can't remember which one the last one was. I'm thinking of one where we like filled the room. It was a small room.
I think it was probably the last one we did.
I can't
Because
remember
we were supposed to do one.
I think that was at Midwest,
we went to
maybe.
Yumacon.
Right.
Yeah, because we were supposed to do one at Con Alt Delete, and then you changed your plans on that.
Well, we did one at Con Alt Delete, but that may have been another year. Yeah, we were supposed to do one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had it all lined up. They were going to let us
remember
do
that.
it, and then that's when you decided.
Did I not go to that Con Alt Delete at all?
No, dude, you canceled
yeah.
all of it.
I remember
we all
that.
were planning on. Yeah, we were all planning on going, and then out of nowhere, you're like,
Right.
"Hey, I'm done." We were
You're
like,
talking. You're talking 2017. This is when I. Yeah, I made Yoma my last con. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know what we're talking about, if you're new to all of this, just a little background on us. This is the one time we're gonna give like a little bit of a rundown on who we are. In the future, you'll just be expected to know. So Dakota and I met as children, if we want to go that far back.
First grade. I feel like I remember it.
Probably. I mean,
Just had a better long-term memory than you.
I gave you the ladder, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
You sure you did? he didn't give me the ladder. Don't listen to him. You don't understand what we're talking about, but trust me, he didn't give me the ladder.
But yeah,
I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill.
The only thing I remember from us meeting as kids is you always like hugging me too.
Dude, I hugged everybody.
Tightly. Yeah.
But you were because you were tiny. You were tiny, and I was a tiny kid. But you were tiny, and you were just easy to squeeze.
I imagine
and I was
like
always,
I imagine like looking at kids that I see like nowadays as an adult, like other kids who are like really small. I can see how they just look really like squeezable. Not that I want to go squeeze children.
You were a
but
cute
you
kid,
know what
dude,
I mean.
Couldn't help it.
Yeah.
You know they say the reason that when we pick up a cute cat or a cute puppy, we squeeze it real hard. I'm lagging just a bit again.
Oh, it's okay. Just don't in the future. Just don't point it out. It's fine.
All right,
it'll come back.
All right, we're good. So, oh, dude, I lost my train of thought.
The reason we squeeze cats or dogs like cute.
Oh yeah. Because if you don't know, and you'll learn some things on this show. Pardon me, throat's been bothering me today.
The Omicron.
No, I already had that.
Another variant.
Yeah. The reason is there's something in our brain where we don't actually know how to react to cute things. We don't have a natural reaction to when something's cute. So when we see something cute, our brain and we squeeze it, that's our brain telling us, kill this because I don't know what else to do with it.
I've never heard that. Maybe I can't dispute that. Yeah, maybe.
Now I might be wrong.
So you were trying to kill me
that I read that
when we were kids,
and subconsciously.
Yeah, you almost
I think
did.
This is a cute kid. I'm gonna break his spine.
But we have a lot of history together.
Yeah.
To be fair, what?
And to be fair, I did that to everybody, adults too.
Right. It just really, I think it really got me because I was so small, smaller than you. You're able to like straight up pick me up off the ground and just like do whatever you wanted. I had no control.
Well, and I think it's also jarring because, and this isn't a knock on anybody, but I don't think your family was quite as affectionate to each other as mine was.
I think they are, but it was me personally. I was always my personality. Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah, and I didn't mean that as a knock. I just
no, you're fine. Like I remember always like, I always like avoid hugs or like if my aunt tries to give me a kiss like on the cheek or something.
You've
I'm
never
like,
really
no,
been into getting touched.
Yeah, that's always been kind of a thing for me. It's not nearly. It's not nearly as bad now for sure.
Like,
but when I was
you were
younger,
adamant. You were adamant that in high school you're like. I'm never, like, because I hugged everybody in high school. It didn't matter who you were, I'd hug you. Except you. Wouldn't hug you.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't let me. I'd try, and you'd do that.
Yeah, I remember.
Like you were saying. But I tell you what. Ooh, my Southern came out. I'll tell you, I work around a lot of Southerners. Tell you what, when we meet later this year, you're getting one of those hugs again. I don't care.
Fine, bro.
It's been 3 years. I'm hugging you.
It's fine.
I'm breaking your spine.
Oh, don't go that hard. I need the spine. But yeah, it's a lot better now. I'm a lot better. I don't know. I think this was like a subconscious thing when I was younger. Just like hug means showing affection in some way. And I don't know. I had like a adversity to like showing affection to other people, which sounds like a horrible thing. But I don't know. It's just how I was.
It's like that with a lot of people.
Yeah, and just being open.
You don't like people in your bubble.
Yeah.
It happens.
Like even being open. I mean, like, this goes off on totally other topics, but like having, like with ex-girlfriends and like girls that I would like have crushes on or something like that. I would never want to tell people about it or talk about it. It's like embarrassing for me almost, and I don't know why that was.
Yeah, even a couple years ago, you've always been real private about your like love lives and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think the hug thing is somehow it's similar to that to me. It's somewhere in my brain that sort of stuff's all related.
To you, it sounds like you have to really, really know and love the person to really want to actually be affectionate towards them.
I don't really know. I don't know how.
At least then.
Yeah, I think I need to talk to a therapist someday and work through this stuff. But yeah, at least I'm to a point. For sure. But at least I'm to a point where I can look and realize those things now. And like,
yeah, and that's great.
But anyway, me and Dakota have known each other for years. And basically what we were talking about earlier with panels and things like that, there's a whole history with us. But eventually, I started this channel called Convention Reviews. And me and Dakota were very close friends at the time. We still are. But
well, yeah, we just live on opposite ends of the planet.
At that point, we literally lived close. Now we don't. But yeah, we started going to anime conventions, and yeah, I started this channel. Dakota was a big part of that channel. Of course, anyone knows who watched it.
Which channel?
Convention Reviews.
You said this channel. We're not on Convention Reviews. This is Podcast for Nerds.
Oh my god, dude. You got me, bro. I started that channel. No, I guess it's fine. Yeah.
Well, I don't like to swear on shows if I can
really?
help it. So
Okay.
yeah, I like it to be I like my grandma and my mom to listen to it if they can.
Right. So yeah, we started this channel. It gained some traction at its max. It was at like 17,000 subscribers. So it wasn't some massive channel, but for us that was big numbers. That was like a big deal.
Two kids from the Midwest, 17K. That's nothing to sneeze at.
And especially at that time in that community, like in the anime convention community, there were definitely bigger channels, but like in the Midwest, we had kind of cemented ourselves as one of the channels you look at. Yeah. Like if you're talking about Midwest channels, in our region. If you were talking about like Midwest convention channels, we were definitely looked at one point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it could get that way again. I'm hoping it does, but
with
we'll
Convention Reviews,
or with this podcast, or us, yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know if Convention Reviews will ever quite get back to what it was.
I don't think it'll ever be the same. I mean, I think even if I came back right now and we just started hitting cons, I think that's the only way. If we just started hitting cons like we did before,
it'd have to be one after the other. It would have to be like we'd have to go on a tour essentially.
Essentially, yeah. Like we got videos coming out, couple videos a week coming out, vlogs, reviews, music videos, like all just basically bring it back to life completely. I think that's the only way it comes back to how it was. But I mean, from what I know, the world of conventions is totally different now.
I literally have not been to a convention, at least not I've been to a couple Comic Cons.
Which were already kind of different than what we did.
Yeah, like I went to Comic Con last year, and it was all right. me and Nate went, and it was all right.
I mean, from what I've heard, maybe you don't know, but conventions have become, okay, let me put it this way. When we were going to cons we started in 2011, and then the channel Convention Review started in 2013, going through 2017. So in that block of time, conventions were still they weren't new by any means, but they were still a bit like the Wild Wild West in a way. You know what I mean? Like people just treated conventions like it was not the normal world. Like it was another
Oh
reality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like we always used to joke. We'd go to these hotels,
Mhm.
and there'd be also just happen to be like a business conference
Right.
going on
Yeah.
at the same
I never
time.
forget. I don't think you were at this one, but I never forget the Pheasant Fest was happening at Anime
Oh
Milwaukee.
yeah, and that was not to be judgmental myself, but from what I've heard, that was a very judgmental crowd.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, but from the way they looked down on us from their floor above, I don't know. Maybe some were interested. Yeah, some of the younger.
That just makes me laugh. The people I felt bad for were like the like businessmen in their like mid-40s who were just trying to go to the next business and go to their meeting and go to sleep, then go home, and then they turn around and there's just the cast of Gurren Lagann.
But there were some of those dudes, like for sure. Now that we're getting older, like I guarantee you, some of those dudes were like, "Yeah, I am at this business thing. This is a big deal and important, but like I also kind of love anime, so this is kind of cool."
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it happened. I'm sure they'll be like, "Oh crap, look, dude, there's Kirito."
Yeah, for sure. But what was I even getting at? Oh, from what I've heard, conventions aren't really that Wild West sort of place anymore. Like it's kind of people kind of realize this is still real life. Real rules apply. Like when we started going to conventions, glomping wasn't really a thing anymore. It was ending, but it was like just ending. Like we were coming off of the culture of glomping people still, which is like dive hugging someone if you don't know what glomping is.
Because we've gotten into that's because it started going into the cosplay is not consent kind of thing.
I think that was the start of it becoming more like a normal thing, which is
people
good.
Would just go and because you'd see someone cosplaying again. I'm referencing Gurren Lagann, but cosplaying Yoko from Gurren Lagann, and she's just in a bikini, and people would go and like glomp this poor girl just because she's in a bikini.
I mean, yeah, lots of things happen. I mean, I remember with my ex, which you can see this stuff on convention reviews.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like she wore literally that cosplay, and like the way dudes would act, and like I remember the guy
that dude
like
picked her up.
Yeah, that was the one I'm thinking of.
Twice.
Like, picked her up without any consent. Like it was really weird. And of course, that's not much compared to what happened to some people. So
and he that person like followed us around for a while after that too. Like,
it was really weird.
To another panel.
Yeah, it was really weird. I remember that. I made a like story time about that back in the day, so you can find that if you want.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
And I mean, I remember lots of situations with things like that.
Oh sure. Remember the Pinocchio guy?
For sure, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, and I think that's where it kind of started. Like to turn conventions into what it is. From what I hear, I need to see, but from what I hear, they're different now. They're a bit more regulated, I guess is the word.
Right.
But I think maybe that's good. Cosplay is not consent. It's definitely a very good
very
movement.
good.
Yeah. I do not oppose that in any way. No. If you do oppose cosplay is not consent, then hopefully you don't go to cons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess what I was getting at with all that is like I think even if we went back now to cons, it's gonna feel different. Like maybe the videos are still gonna feel different. That was one of the fun things about them.
I'm gonna feel like an outsider.
Dude,
I used to feel like I'm in my element. I'm here. I'm with my people. And now I'm gonna feel like an outsider because I'm gonna be like that old man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I'm gonna feel how Kale felt.
I was almost about to say that. Kale, if you're listening, man. Kale's like a good friend of ours that we met when we were first going to conventions. We were like early 20s, and Kale, when we met him, he was 29, so the same age as us.
Yeah,
he was just turning 30. Yeah, and we're like, dang, like we were just surprised because he doesn't even look that old at all.
Even now, I mean, he's in his, I think, at this point, late 30s. No offense, Kale. It's just a fact.
That shouldn't be offensive. It's just an age.
Well, some people get all uppity about their age.
Yeah.
But yeah, he, I mean, to this day, he posts and he streams. I check out his streams every now and then, and yeah, he still looks very youthful. He's got one of those youthful faces.
Baby face, in a good way. Don't mean not trying to insult. Yeah. But I mean, I remember looking at Kale and thinking like, yeah, nothing bad about it, but just like, yeah, he's older. Like something I felt something like that. Oh, this guy's older. He's seen more stuff than us. Like it's different.
He's experienced.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's more experienced, but like most people here are like our age. We're our age. But now when we go, we are Kale.
Yeah.
Which is
and he
weird.
warned us.
Did he?
Yeah, a couple times. He'd be like, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be different. Like walking around a con and being like, oh, all these people are like teenagers or early 20s. Like I feel like an old man. Like, do I belong? But maybe it doesn't feel like that because our generation was the first one that was really big into anime and conventions and things like that. So maybe there are still a lot of people our age still going. So maybe it's just more mixed now.
I'm sure there are. I mean, obviously, cons are still post 2020. Cons are finally happening again.
Mm-hmm. Well, in U.S., not here.
Oh yeah.
I still wanted to go to
true.
one in the Philippines. Oh, by the way, I live in the Philippines. I didn't mention that for anyone listening.
I thought we'd get there, but we kind of transitioned.
We will
away.
get there, yeah. But yeah, no cons are happening here right now. But that's why we say
So-
we were living far apart. Dakota's still in
So this is-
Indiana.
This is a good time to bring this up. As you may have noticed, we've already gotten sidetracked like crazy.
Mm.
What the original point was, and I'm not trying to steer back to the original point because that's not what the point of the show is. The point of this show is to have conversation and let it flow.
Yeah.
But I feel like this needs explanation for first timers.
Uh-huh.
So I do kind of want to go back to that.
For sure.
So, like he said, we started convention reviews. That wasn't our first YouTube channel. We'll get into that another day.
Yeah.
But he started convention reviews, and then we all kind of started going to the cons and stuff. And then he and I started a show called Weekday One Up, which got a mild-ish following at the time.
Let's just call it what it was. Let's just call it what it was. It was a
What's that?
It was a Good Mythical Morning ripoff with a nerdy
Yeah.
overtones. That's all it, and done much less well. I mean, obviously, they have like a whole
Yeah.
studio and production and like
We were
producers.
just doing
like,
it in your room.
At first, yeah. We did eventually get a studio, but
Yeah, that went away.
but that's what that was.
But so we did the Weekday One Up. That got a mild following. We won't go into why, but that kind of fell through. But at the same time we were doing Weekday One Up, that was just you and me and then the occasional guest. Where this channel, those who might remember, those subscribers who are watching, remember, got a burp trying to come up and it won't.
That sucks, dude. Don't pass out.
Dude, I'll try not to. But this show was, like you mentioned earlier, we called NakamaCast.
This
And,
channel,
you know,
the channel this is being posted on used to be called NakamaCast.
Channel, I said show. Used to be called NakamaCast, and that was because Nakama is like, better than best friend. There's no real translation. But it's like your best buddies.
They say it in One Piece to mean they're like crew members, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
And all
where
of
we
it,
were taking
yeah.
it from.
Yeah, and then Drew was the only one who didn't watch One Piece. I don't know if he does now. I doubt it. But,
I doubt it. I'd be shocked, dude. If Drew came to me and he's like, bro, One Piece is so legit. I love Wano. Like, I'm all the way caught up. I'd be like, Drew, what?
He would be, too. He's that kind of guy. He'll just sit there and binge a show and be like, hey, I watched this show. And we're like, huh?
Dude, now I want to start talking about One Piece. But let's stay on track for this point at least.
So, it was a show, NakamaCast. We took that, because we were four buddies, just in a crew, just trying to make a show. And
Yeah, it was me, Dakota, our friend Drew, and another friend of ours named Nate. So four.
Yeah.
For
And
Nakama.
we would just get on. Yeah. And we would just get on and we'd have various topics. We'd watch anime. We tried to do like an anime book club, and that was a hard thing to do because we would try to watch all the seasonal anime and then talk about it. And I think with me especially, I got over all the ones we felt we should.
Too much.
But with me especially, I think I would get overwhelmed with because they'd be like, all right, because to this day, I don't just like to just consume one type of medium, like just anime or just live action shows or just YouTube. I try to mix it up because I don't know, I guess my brain gets bored or something. But and so I would get overwhelmed and I wouldn't always follow through with watching all the shows, so sometimes
Right.
I'd have to skip out on topics, and that happened. But I think that was part of it. So I don't know if you'll see a whole lot of book clubby type stuff on this show like that. I mean,
If we
maybe
did it,
occasionally.
it would be like one show at a time.
One show or like a
manga,
movie.
one movie, yeah, something like that. But we
Maybe
actually
a
want
book.
this. We want this channel to be a little bit more evergreen, so things are easier. Like we don't want to watch something that's like new coming out, and then like a couple of years down the line, if someone finds this show, they're like, "Oh, I can't really relate to this." It's that show ended up not being that exciting, or like I don't really want to go watch it.
Like, you won't hear us talk a whole lot about like current events happening in the world or anything like that.
Unless it's something big happening, like there's maybe some big
Right.
scandal within like the nerd community that
Well, yeah.
something we may have a opinion on. But yeah, we don't plan to just. We used to do this kind of thing before, and we don't plan to do it now. Where we would be like, okay, the new season is starting. We're gonna run down the shows and talk about what all of them are gonna be like. Like that stuff is not interesting. You can find that stuff elsewhere. We don't need to do something like that. Yeah.
No.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was literally go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, yeah, Nakamacast used to be. I am sorry, but I would call Nakamacast a failure in a lot of ways. It was fun for friends, like it was a fun thing for friends to do to get some experience doing that sort of thing and just hang out. And it was fun for the viewers who did watch it. But when I go back and look at it, we just missed the mark on so many different points. It was a failure in terms of making the kind of show we wanted. Like I don't think we even made the show we wanted. We just went and talked.
I think we all, especially me and you, wanted to do different things on the show
For sure, I
a
think
lot,
so.
and then ideas would clash, and then we just wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
And back then, especially, you and I would butt heads a lot creatively.
yeah. I don't think that's gonna be as much of a problem anymore.
Well, we both.
We'll find out.
The problem was I would get butthurt, and you were stubborn.
Absolutely, and I'm less
And
stubborn now. I'm not gonna say I'm not so stubborn with certain things, but especially creatively,
Looks
I'm
over
less.
at girlfriend.
Yep, that's what I was doing.
I'm not stubborn at all.
Yeah, it just depends with what. Like creatively, I'm definitely less stubborn than before because creatively, like you guys have to understand, especially those who didn't follow us back then, who are new to us and all of this. Before, like I started the Convention Reviews channel, in my brain, and I built it up. It was in my brain. It was like I did this. I know what's right. Therefore, they should follow me. Which I don't know if I ever said that directly. Maybe I did.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Okay. But yeah, that's definitely how I was feeling.
Sorry,
like,
that sounded a little bit more spiteful than I meant it to. I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I would understand like being spiteful against that sort of attitude because that's not the attitude you should have. If you're someone new entering like a creative space, especially, you have to understand that sort of thing is it takes more than one person. You're not going to be able to do all of this alone, and you're not going to have all the right ideas. You're not going to be able to do everything.
And that was your big thing, like you said. You had a vision for how you wanted it to look, and that's perfect. And that's more than fine. That's like that's.
But it wasn't
perfect.
my show. It was our show, and that's the big problem.
Well, I would say it was your show. Because the only time we were around was when we were in the vlogs. Everything else was you, like the reviews, the music videos.
Well, on convention
reviews,
but I'm talking about specifically Nakamacast. That was not my show. That was our show.
See, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
see what
talking
you're
about. Like Nakamacast, especially since that's what we were originally talking about. Yeah.
I don't see then. Yeah, with Nakamacast, you actually never did really have that air. With convention reviews, you did kind of have the this is my show. I'll do what I
for
want
sure.
kind of thing.
Yeah. I did not like to take anyone's opinion.
But yeah, I never got the air that you were trying to control Nakamacast. It was more like if one of us wanted to talk about something and you didn't, we just wouldn't talk about it.
No, yeah. Like I listened back through some of the Nakamacast, not all of it, but a little bit of. I listened to some table topics, which is It was a show that we did on the Comic Cast that was supposed to be about not necessarily nerdy things. It was supposed to be just about anything.
Life.
About life, yeah.
That was when we were trying to copy Kind of Funny.
Yep. We're always trying to copy someone is the problem, I think. I mean, everyone is influenced by something, and it's totally fine to take inspiration.
I mean, even there's podcasts and shows all over the world where they do Zoom podcasts like this.
We don't plan to always be on Zoom, by the way. It's just because we're in different countries. We'll see what happens when I'm in U.S. again later this year.
Oh, yeah, we'll meet up and stuff,
also,
I'm sure.
Speaking of being on Zoom, I just want to say really quick, and then I'll get back to my point. Be careful hitting your desk, because I can hear every now and then, like, ba-ba-ba-ba.
I keep hitting my,
that one. That's what I can hear.
Because it's a little, maybe, let me adjust it, maybe.
Sorry, guys. We're still working out the kinks on this. It'll definitely get better.
I think that should help.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I listened to some of that stuff to just get an idea of what we did used to do. Like, how was it? Man, I cannot stand myself when I watched them. And I haven't
listened to a Nakamacast in a while, so I don't know.
It was especially on table topics. Like, I was really leading it in a really annoying way. Like, I would be like, oh no, we don't need to talk about that. Like you would bring something up, or Drew would bring something up, be like, Drew, what are you talking about? You don't think that. We don't need to do that. And like just force it in another direction. And it's like, bro, why can't the conversation not just... Well, there is one reason for that. Because on those shows, we wanted to have like 4 topics each episode. And
so we had to stick to the topic.
Yeah, so we were... And that actually leads to another thing I want to say about this show. We were always trying to stick to a topic, and I was definitely too strong on trying to force us to sticking to that topic and getting to the next one, that sort of thing, and cutting it off. Like, we might be in the middle of a conversation, but it's like, okay, we got to cut it off, so we got to go on to the next topic.
I think that ties back into we were maybe a little more you than us, but heavily, because was what Kind of Funny would do on the Game Over Reggie show.
Yeah. We were really. I was a big fan of them, and you were at that point too, for sure.
Oh yeah, I fell off. I think way before you did, but
yeah. You fell off when Colin left, but we don't need to get into all of that.
No, yeah, but yeah, he. See, I don't see. I guess I only remember the fun stuff. I remember the fun stuff more than the bad stuff.
Well,
so
I mostly remember the fun stuff. Yeah, I mostly remember the fun stuff. It's just I literally went and watched it, so I saw it. Yeah.
So I'm just saying I'll have to go and actually listen to it, and then I'll let you, and then maybe I'll message you and be like, you were a jerk.
I honestly was. Like, I did not remember. Of course, who remembers themselves being a jerk, right? It's better to see it yourself.
Like, I'm sure I would go back and be like, shut up, dude, to me.
I think everyone probably would to themselves, but
again, because like I said, I would get butthurt.
Yeah.
Because you'd be stubborn, and it would get me butthurt.
Well, and I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that happening. Like, I would say something stupid, and then you would like make reactions and do things as well, which would push me to. It just made the whole thing feel uneasy. Like, it did not feel fun to watch. This is what happens when you get
2 Scorpios with ADHD together.
Yeah, maybe, but basically that kind of helped form the idea for this show. So if you've already been watching like in the future and you're just coming back and listening to the first episode, you kind of already know how this is. But the idea that we really wanted to focus on for this show is we just let the conversation go. Like, we have ideas for segments and for things we could talk about. And generally, we're always going to bring a topic of the show that maybe we are going to try to get to. But the most important thing is to just see where the conversation goes. We don't want to cut anything off. We don't want to try to force it in a direction because it's not fun. This is a conversational podcast, and where it goes is where it goes. That's just how it is. And I think that's going to feel a lot
that doesn't
better.
mean we won't try to stick to a topic, like if we're talking, say, about Dragon Ball Z or something, doesn't mean we're not going to not talk about Dragon Ball Z, but be prepared because, like I said, we both have ADHD and we just get sidetracked. That's how our minds work. So we could be talking about DBZ and then suddenly, now we're talking about concerts that we went to.
And I think that's totally fine. That's how I want it to be. Like, and we can always go back to talking about Dragon Ball Z. But the problem was always that we would force it back. Like we'd be in the middle, you say using this example, we'd be in the middle of talking about concerts. Like that conversation was still interesting. And then it'd be like, oh, but we need to go back to what we were talking about. Like forget about this. And that sucks. Like even as a viewer, because sometimes I'll listen through, like the podcast we did last year. We did another show almost exactly a year ago, trying this, that we didn't plan as much. We just got on and just talked and like tried to stick to the topics. Listening back through some of those. Yeah, for sure. It's like the template that eventually led to this, so it was important.
Yeah.
But listening back through those, it's like I would get annoyed at us because I'm like, I was actually enjoying hearing us talk about the thing that we're sidetracked on. And we just forced it back to the other thing that I'm not as interested in, actually. Yeah.
Oh, man, the story you were telling was way more interesting than what you're talking about now. Go back to that.
Well, I noticed that on podcasts I listen to myself, like, they'll get sidetracked and then they'll start talking about something else for like 20 minutes. But I'm like totally in for it. Like, it's way better.
A good example of that, I don't know if anybody listens to the Nintendo voice chat show on IGN.
I was
back in the day, the host...
I was about to mention Jose. Yes, I think we're thinking about the same thing, dude.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't as much of a... He wasn't like a jerk about it, but you could tell he didn't like it when they went off topic, and they even like joked about how much he hated to go off topic. And he would always be polite. He wasn't like, okay, come on. He would always be like, okay, I kind of want to reel it back in.
Yeah.
You know, get back to, we were talking about Mario Kart. I kind of want to get back to that.
Bro, stop messing with that thing. I'm sorry. It just keeps making so much noise.
My hand hit it. I'm sorry.
It almost might be better to take it away.
I gotta find a better spot for it. I'll find a better spot for it on the next show.
Okay. It's like happening endlessly. But
I put because I keep talking with my hands.
I do it too. Yeah, I do it too. Okay. Anyway, sorry about Jose. Yeah, he would try to reel it back in.
And it wasn't. I don't want to say that was annoying because he would do it in a polite way usually, but you could. It also was tell annoying. When he was starting.
No, every now and then, maybe like 1 out of every 5 shows, there'd be like a point where he's like, "All right, guys, let's go back." Like you tell he's getting frustrated,
kind of like a teacher. Exactly. You know, and I think he was a teacher actually.
I think he was. I can't remember for sure, but that sounds right.
That could have been where it stemmed from.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think we took inspiration from that as well. Like we didn't like it necessarily, but we were listening to those podcasts at the time, so we're like, okay, there has to be someone on the show like that to keep it on top.
We were too worried about emulating other people and not being individuals.
Yeah, but I guess that's the thing. It's like everyone starts by emulating others. I don't know anyone who started anything and they didn't emulate someone else in some sort of a way until they found their own groove, kind of. They found their own style.
Well, even my Dragon Ball podcast with the scripted format.
Oh no! Who are you copying? Who are you plagiarizing?
Don't kill me. There's a podcast I haven't listened to it in a while because I don't like everything they talk about.
Yeah,
but it's called Our Secret History, or Our Fake History. I can't remember. I'll have to look at it. It's a very good show. I think you would enjoy it.
Sounds like something I'd enjoy.
The guy takes a look at, say, the movie Braveheart.
Okay.
You know, he doesn't look at the movie. He tells you about the actual legend, but then he's like, a lot of his episodes boil down to it probably didn't happen.
I see. So you're taking inspiration from this channel.
So see, yeah, the way he does his show, and you'd never know it because he's so good. It sounds like he's literally just talking to you, but he admitted in an episode, he said I write scripts at like weeks in advance.
Dude, I think more channels like on YouTube and podcasts and things are scripted than you think. Because there's another one. I watch a channel called Grand Line Review. Some of you might know. It's like talks about One Piece stuff. And then he started another channel called A Dude in a Room, where he just sits in a room and talks about stuff. But yeah, he mentioned writing scripts and that he reads the script. But when I'm watching him, it's like, I'm not going to say he's super, super professional, something like that, but I did not know he was reading a script. It felt natural, so natural. The only way I could tell is because it's not a podcast. So every now and then I could see his eyes like go back over, like he's checking the script really quick because it's not right in front of him. But if not for the eye movement,
advantage of my show.
Yeah, for sure. But if not for the eye movement, honestly, I would have never known. And I think there's more channels and more people who have scripts than people realize. Even for We Wonder, my current main channel, but I think it's pretty obvious. with us. Like we do voiceovers, and yeah, it's pretty obviously scripted. But I try my best to make it sound not
Yeah.
scripted.
See, I do my best to make myself. I take again more inspiration. I take the Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker approach.
Mm-hmm.
He said when he first read the script for Luke Skywalker, he looked at it and his first thought was, "Who talks like this?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, "What is this?" Because if you
That's
listen
funny.
to some of that early Star Wars dialogue,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of like, well, if you fly around the converter function and fly past this, but those starships don't have any kind of like. It's like a lot of sci-fi.
You're totally
gobbledygook.
right. Yeah, I can
It's like-
remember. Mhm.
Especially in like just the audition tapes. I watched a documentary recently about it in those early audition tapes. I mean, but you'd never know because he said I just decided to take and just be earnest about it. He said I just essentially just be myself. How would I be in this situation? And so that's how I try to approach my show is like, how would I say this? How, at least in the main thing, I make jokes and stuff where I'm like, where I'll throw in a whole little silly voice and I'll be like, hey, how are you?
I think that adds to it a lot, though. That makes it feel more authentic to me.
And more inspiration.
Because it's hard
I got that kind of.
It's hard to write a
more
good
inspiration.
joke, honestly.
Well, the voices and like sometimes I'll distort my voice to make a point or something. With an effect. That goes back to JonTron and Cat Icarus. I don't know if you
Of
watch
course.
those because they do that a lot. So I mean it's and of course they're inspired by people.
Yeah, everything
You know,
is just inspiration. And what I've learned too as time goes on is that like you don't just get inspired by people in your genre. I found myself watching channels that are completely outside the genre of what I'm creating and finding something like, oh, they do this thing that no one else in my genre is currently doing. I could adapt this in some way to what I'm making.
I mean, that's I haven't actually mentioned it. The show I keep talking about is I do have a podcast called A Dragon Ball Podcast. It's still getting going. I only have 4 episodes out. I'm working on the 5th.
I just want to call Dakota out here really quick. He's a little slow with the episodes. Could speed the production up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it would help the
that
show, honestly. I think it would help it gain an audience a little quicker.
I'm not going to get too into it, but I think a lot of that boils down to I go through depressive states sometimes, and then I just don't do anything. But we don't need to get into that.
Okay.
But which is why this show I won't have that problem because it goes back to I get overwhelmed with working. And, you know, I work a full-time job, and then I come home, and then
You're full-time? You're 40 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's
heck,
rough.
I'm working overtime this week.
Yeah.
Just by an hour every day, but it's still like, ugh.
Still sucks, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not awful, you know. But, so, yeah, when I get home, you know, today I didn't get home till almost 5, you know. And doing this, I didn't have time to work on my show or anything.
We started
I got my outline.
What time did we start this there? 7 or 6?
It was about 6:45 when we finally got going.
Okay, so yeah, you only had like a less than 2 hours after getting home before we started this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably won't get to work on it tonight, but I really am wanting to work on it tomorrow. I've been wanting to every day this week. Yesterday I was in a funk.
Just make that time again. I remember it was like 2 years ago or something where we talked about like try to do the 2 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day just to do something, and then you can stop.
Me and Ariel, my wife, and that's for the people who haven't seen us on this channel in however many years that it's been, 7 maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've gotten married. I'm a married man now.
And I have. Oh wait, no, I haven't.
No ring yet. Probably got to wait for a few things for that to happen.
I mean, we could actually talk about that, but we'll get sidetracked, and it's not a path I want to go down. So you can just yeah.
But what was I saying?
You got married?
Well, I got married, so that's something that happened to me, and me and Ariel, my wife, we have we've only done it twice, but we've decided that every day we're going to devote. She is an artist, and she makes art. She draws. She's trying to get into all kinds of other paints. She's such a good painter. We've decided that 30 minutes a day, at least. We just got to get that ball rolling. Shit needs to be devoted to our art. You know, my show, her projects.
Dude, I would highly recommend. Yeah, set aside that time and like put your phone somewhere else if you don't need it, or block if you can block the apps. I don't know. Try to do things to keep yourself from getting sidetracked just within that 30 minutes at least. It's so helpful. That's one of the things I had to do. Like I have a key on my desk here, and I used to put my phone in it, lock it, and give Izai the key. And it's like, okay, now I can't get distracted by this, and I can just focus.
I normally, when I'm writing, at least, I normally will keep my phone near me, so that way I can check myself if I need to. Like, oh, I'm typing this thing. That's a fact.
That's the difficult part. Yeah, like I'm a vlogger on YouTube on my other channel, which I haven't talked a lot about yet, but I'm still making videos on another channel. I have a travel channel, and so I'm needing things from YouTube. I'm needing things from the internet. So while I'm editing and doing this stuff, it's like I'm still connected to the internet. It's too easy to get distracted, right? But yeah. Anyway, go ahead. You've got 30 minutes set aside.
So yeah, we both decided that we're gonna try and set aside at least 30 minutes a day. You know, obviously it might not happen every day. Like last couple days, you know, I'm working overtime this week and it's just hard.
Right.
But sorry, I thought I heard my dog making a noise. And so we can, you know, because I feel good when I do my show. It makes me feel good when I'm recording because I like talking. I don't necessarily like the sound of my voice, but I like talking, and I like making stuff.
Yeah, just do it more so it becomes a habit, and then you'll be good to go.
And that's I don't like to make New Year's resolutions anymore, just because
they never happen.
I don't think I've ever followed through with one.
Yeah.
But I guess the closest thing to a resolution I came to is I do want to be more serious about my show this year. Like, I was going to put out a 2022 preview episode, but we're already almost halfway through February, and it's a little too late for that.
Yeah.
So I just decided to do, my next episode is going to be like I said, it's a Dragon Ball podcast. My next episode is going to be all about if they're going to make a live-action Dragon Ball one day, here's what I think it should look like.
Ah, cool. So you mean in the style of like Cowboy Bebop, One Piece?
Yeah. Cause that's what inspired me is because I don't know if you watched any of the Cowboy Bebop show.
I haven't. I wanted to, but then I heard bad things on all sides.
Dude, oh my gosh, they completely... You know how Faye is one of the great, strong female characters in anime?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, like, she is, like, badass. She has some great writing, and some of the things she says is just poetic.
She's cool.
And she's funny. Yeah. Without being vulgar. She's a very funny character in the show, which the show has not got a lot of humor in it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, she's attractive. She's
of course, she's an anime character.
Not for me necessarily.
She's an anime female, and that's not in One Piece, so she's probably going to be attractive.
I only watched the first episode of Cowboy Bebop, and it's pretty close to the first episode of the anime. Like, there's shots in it that I'm like, oh, wow, that looks really right out of the show.
Yeah.
They just destroyed anything likable about Faye. I mean...
Maybe it was just for the first episode?
I don't know. I was afraid. No, because I saw a clip. First off, they make her swear. Like, a lot.
Oh, like, that could be really annoying.
Oh, my. And they make her... They decided to write the character instead of an equal. From what I read, they wrote her more as a younger sister type.
That's not.
And I
really
saw a
right.
line where she had like I didn't see this in the show, but I saw a screenshot where it was comparing the Fae in the anime to the Fae in the live action. And and it had this very long, I can't remember the quote, poetic line that she had about life, and it was just a very kind of moving quote that she had.
Well
and
written.
It said yeah, and versus the live action, and it was her like in a Gatling gun, and all she said was, and I'm gonna swear, all she said was, "Time for the ouch, motherfuckers."
That doesn't really sound like her.
It's not, dude. Did you see the Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, the sequel?
Yeah. Me and Izai watched it last year.
So do you remember the dino vet in that with the glasses? She looked like a hipster girl. I think she's Latina. Latinx.
I can
Anyway,
Google it.
I can't think.
Remember.
Her name's Daniela something, I think, but I can't think of her name right now.
Okay.
But the girl who played her, who in that character is a very snarky, I'm such a strong, badass female character.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay, I remember her for sure.
Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, I'm still kidnapped by the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
And
actually, sorry, what?
And just the way that they had her play the Faye character, and I feel like she could have done a good job. If they want to change her and make her a little bit more excitable and stuff like that, that's fine. But one of the lines in the movie when she meets Jet, by the way, the dude that plays Jet, I loved him as Jet. If they wanted to do a live action show just with Jet, the live action Jet, I would absolutely love that. He was about the only thing I did really like in it from what I saw. But her first off, she tries to fight Spike. In the first episode, her and Spike fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets the upper hand and takes her back to his ship and locks her in the bathroom. And then Jet comes in and he's like, "Whoa, who is this?" And opens up the thing. And he said, "This is our new whatever." Introduces her and he said, "This is Jet."
Our new Nakama.
Yeah. She goes, got a gnat flying around me. First thing she says to him, even Ariel, my wife, she was just like, "Why?"
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, in the position she was in, she was supposed to be mad, but
yeah.
First line was, he goes, "Hi, I'm Jet." And she goes, "Oh, hi, fuck you."
I understand the kind of character archetype they're trying to go for, but it doesn't match her real character. It's like it's like I hate to say this, but it's kind of like the American Tsundere. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it's more
sure.
annoying. I find that American version of it more annoying.
Well, it's because in America they're trying too hard to make
exactly.
Because in America we have this. American writers have this notion, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, that I don't use this word lightly, so forgive me. Bitchy automatically equals strong female character over here for some reason.
I agree. I see that a lot. Yeah.
Whereas if you want to find a good example recently of a strong female character that does not ever bring up the fact that she's a female, she's just awesome, is Alita Battle Angel.
Dakota's a huge
I love that movie, dude. I read the
fan?
manga to prepare for it. Oh, I love it. Fan. Oh.
I wanted to say more than fan, but I can't think of the right word. Proponent? That's not right.
If I could go to bed with that movie, I would. Just the movie.
Okay.
I guess I could. I have it on my shelf. I could just hold it.
Yeah, you could. I don't think anyone's stopping you. Not that I know of.
I don't know if my wife would appreciate it.
Well, what she doesn't know won't hurt you.
Oh, she'll know.
Okay.
But the reason I guess that's on my mind. We watched it again a couple weeks ago because I was on quarantine because I was sick, and I decided to marathon through all my Blu-rays, and I had that movie on Blu-ray, and I put it on, and I was like, man, this movie rocks.
Yeah.
God, it's good.
I need to watch it. I still haven't seen it.
We need sequels, dude.
Is that going to be your recommendation? You know, we're supposed to do. We were planning to do a recommendation.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end.
I'm trying to see if you even prepared one, because I
hadn't.
I forgot.
Too, but
but it's your turn.
We'll go that at the end.
Yeah.
So,
I did want to reel it back in just a little bit. I hate to do this.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're
well,
good.
only because we are trying to talk about what this podcast is meant to be. So we're pretty much
this
there.
is
but
what you're listening
it's
to
meant
is what the
be.
podcast is going to be. This is it's going to be a lot of this.
But I did want to say that one other big thing that I want to put out is that there is a time limit, but there's basically not a time limit on this podcast because our time limit's 3 hours, and I really don't think we're going to actually reach 3 hours. But the reason we're leaving it sort of unlimited like this, it used to be like 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours, and then as we would,
I think that was also due to your camera at the time. It only it would stop recording after like 25 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is now I'm not recording. I'm just using it as a webcam, so it's not even filming. Yeah, OBS is filming for me.
We didn't have a very good webcam back in the day, so we'd always use your good camera.
Dude, we switched to using the GoPro because the GoPro wouldn't stop after 30 minutes. It would just go. But
then you'd have to go and color correct it every time.
And it looked horrible, dude. Watching those I watched some, and I don't know how I could have thought it was acceptable. It looked like a watercolor painting. No, it just looked, it was just gross looking. I don't even know.
I'll have to go back and actually watch. I've only listened.
Yeah, but so we're keeping it not unlimited, but in a way, it's like close to unlimited because I doubt we're gonna reach that time. I mean, let's see when the first time comes up where we're like, bro, we're nearing on 3 hours. See how long that takes. But
that'll probably be if we ever record on the weekends and stuff, maybe.
For sure. The reason we're doing this though is because, if you listened before, you'll know that another thing that would kind of hinder the show is we would see like, oh, that time's coming up, we gotta go, like I gotta we had planned only for this long and we're already past that, so we kind of stop the show, stop the flow.
You especially be like, come on, wait, all right, stop, I gotta go start the camera, that would just interrupt the flow hard. Absolutely hard. And then we'd forget what we were talking about, because then we'd go take a bathroom break and stuff.
Yeah, we just want to keep this one going. And that's not to say we will never maybe like take a bathroom break if something happens and we'll just cut around it. But it won't be the same. It's not like that.
Cats are playing.
Oh, it's okay. We're trying to also not be too distracted.
Again,
what?
ADHD. I think you know how to deal with yours a little better than me, but...
Oh, I've learned to change my environment. That's all I do. I force the cats out of this room. I think there's one in here. Yeah,
I don't.
The one with luxury. right there. Can you see him? Sleeping
on the bed.
Yeah, he's that's Luffy. He's
our kitten. We keep him. We can't trust him alone in the house yet.
I see.
We're in kind of a studio situation right now, so we don't really have the luxury of putting the cats in the other room.
Yeah, for sure. I understand. Our old apartment was similar. We did have a place we could put them, but it wasn't really a good solution. Yeah, that's all I do, though. I try to change my environment, like just get people out of here. I have like good noise-canceling headphones to just like cut everything out, even if something else is happening.
These are my wife's headphones. She just lets me use them when I do this.
That's very nice of her.
I think it's a little reluctant, though.
Be careful, bro. I don't want you to die on the podcast. I'll still have to post it. But
wife kills husband on podcast.
I'll censor it, of course, so that we'll get monetized.
No, don't censor it. Send her to jail.
So yeah, that's pretty much what this podcast is going to be. We do have some segments that we're talking about rolling through, but there's sort of the type of thing that it's like, if we want to talk about this, we can talk about it. If we don't have to. Because before, when we would have segments or try that, we would try to make it every episode. Like, okay, we got to do this segment. We got to do this segment. Yeah. They can be like rotating segments. Yeah. And
I got a few written down here, though, that like you said, but the way this works is these could all just end up becoming either a main topic or part of a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's.
So we're not gonna.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Like one here we got written down is nerd news.
Yeah,
and there's not always going to be nerd news, and sometimes there might be big things I want to talk about, like if they announce a big casting for a movie that I want to talk about.
If the trailer drops for the One Piece live action, that's nerd news.
yeah, that's nerd news. But I'm never going to be like, because I saw an article today that talking about the She-Hulk show that's about to come out, and it said,
"Man, I have no interest in that."
I do because I like the actress.
Oh, okay.
And I like She-Hulk. I liked She-Hulk when I was a kid. I thought the idea was cool. Because she doesn't get angry like Hulk does. She just has Hulk powers and is green.
That's good.
And I like
because
the actress.
They could have gone the route of making it like, no, I won't even go there. They could have gone a very different route with that. But okay,
Right.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
But the article that I saw, it said Marvel's take on She-Hulk. The director says the show will be focus on a light-hearted humor, but with heart. And my first thought was, so Marvel? So a Marvel movie? They're all lighthearted with humor. I mean, yeah, some of them are heavy, but they all have a lightheartedness to it. It's not DC.
I remember Endgame was really lighthearted. Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Actually, it was. I was saying that as a joke, but yeah, it actually was. You're right. Infinity War was heavier.
With the tacos? Come on.
The tacos?
Did you see... Yeah, with Ant-Man eating. I watched it recently while I was on quarantine.
Yeah, I can't remember every detail. It's been years.
One of the best parts in it is they're all getting... It's like the day before they're about to ship out and do the big time travel thing. And Ant-Man is trying to eat a taco.
Okay.
And you see him sitting there and place everything down, kind of cram it down, so it's... And then a ship comes and lands, like a helicopter, and it's real windy, and it blows everything out of his taco. I do remember that,
yeah.
And then he's just kind of sitting there staring at his empty taco shell, and then Hulk comes by, looks at him, picks up 2 tacos out of his thing, and hands him some tacos. And it's just like the most wholesome moment, seeing Hulk give Ant-Man some tacos.
That's pretty awesome, yeah. So
it's so wholesome.
Yeah, but
I love stuff I love wholesome.
With nerd news, it's not something that we're going to... I bet it's going to be the least common... segment on this show.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's got to be something. I really want, if we're going to talk about nerd news, it needs to be something we both can have some sort of an opinion on. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, with the She-Hulk
unless
example,
we both are like, oh my god, I got to talk about this. I have to talk about this.
Yeah,
on the show.
With the She-Hulk example, like for example, I'm sure you could say something about everything with that, or not necessarily that specific
I said
news.
I
don't mean that specific news. Yeah, I mean like if there was something bigger, but it's like I don't have any opinion on that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just not. It's not as fun if like we can't. Well, the fun thing about a podcast is like bouncing off of each other. If you can't really bounce off, then it's not.
And what I was getting at with the She-Hulk thing and the lighthearted, that's not really news to me.
Right.
That's not news at all. That's just you stating something about the show and then people trying to get clicks.
So I guess what we're saying is like we don't plan to just cover every little thing at all. It's got to be like big.
No,
there is a segment I think I would love to actually do today, maybe.
All right,
if
what are we
want
doing?
To Ketchup Corner.
Yes, Ketchup Corner.
Or Ketchup Corner, or maybe Ketchup Corner, or we also have like what are we consuming? I'm into that too.
Well, maybe we can try both of those. Do we want to talk about what we were originally going to talk about today at all?
Yeah, we can definitely get into that.
All right.
We had a main topic, kind of.
Well, let's go into the main topic while we're at it. Transition. So the main topic today, and we might not get a whole lot of this. This is honestly just some questions I've wanted to ask you, and I only have 2 written down. The rest are on my phone, which is on the other side of the room. But the first question, or the topic is, you were just recently lived through a history-making typhoon in Philippines.
Yeah, and so the reason we thought this could be a topic is because it actually affected this show quite a bit. Yeah, we were in the middle of planning this show.
We were going to do it like the week before it, or the week it happened was when we were going to do it, I think.
Me and Dakota, we did quite a few calls, like planning sessions before ever this one, of course. And we had a planning session prepared for the next day. And I remember writing you and telling you, hey man, just so you know, they're talking about some typhoon on the way. I might not have power, but it's probably fine. And I was just like, if I'm like MIA tomorrow and I'm just not there, then I guess we lost power. And yeah, I was definitely
you
not
messaged
there.
me. You were like, yep, power went out.
Yeah, I amazingly was able to get our Ezai had signal the next day, which we can get into all of those details if we want. But so I was able to message you, and I did think I'm like, I need to message Dakota. I'm sure he'll know because I mentioned it, but like I should, if I can say something, I should say something.
I was ready for it. I was waiting. I told my wife. I was like, I mentioned it to her. I was like, we were supposed to start this week, but he said it might not happen. And then you messaged me. I was like, yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, it pushed the show back by weeks for sure. The
Literally,
first episode,
months even.
The first episode we
point.
were hoping to come out in January, maybe could push to February. Now we're mid-February just filming this first episode, and we want to have a few backed up and ready to go before we post. So still hoping this will come out maybe late February, but this could go into March now, which means we're like, months. We push back by at least a month.
By the time we actually get to uploading, it will have been probably at least 2.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, by the time this actually goes live, it will have been a lot. We wanted to do it early in the year because new year, new us. No, but like new year, new show. Like it felt like the perfect time. It's like, okay, we're coming into 2022. This is a perfect time to start something new. It'll be exciting. And to just, this totally changed everything. So
let me get to, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, at least the ones I can remember.
Sure.
First thing I wanted to know is, I want to know what was the build-up. What was the build-up to it like?
Okay, to
like
this
you knew it was coming.
Sorry, go ahead.
You knew the storm was coming, but you obviously, I don't think anybody other than meteorologists knew just how bad it was going to be.
Right.
There it is. I finally burped.
Congratulations, bro. You did it.
Thank you.
You're free. Free from that curse. Oh, no.
I don't know. There might be another one in there.
Need some antacid.
Something. Tums or something. But
dude, I miss Tums. They don't have Tums here, bro.
Tums?
No. It's the worst.
Dang. Yeah, Tums are great. Do you ever have the Skittled kind?
No. Oh, yes. Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Like a little Skittle.
One time, yeah. I liked it, but I think I liked the normal one more.
The chalky kind?
I like the chalky
Have you had
one.
like the Starbursty kind?
Yes, I did as well. I actually liked that a lot. I had I had a period where like I was going to the grocery store with my mom, and so I didn't have to buy it. So I was like, Mom, buy all these random weird Tums. I want to try it.
And she probably did.
She did, yeah. Maybe
she probably argued it, but then eventually did it too.
Yeah.
I'm not buying all those, and then you just throw them in the cart and she gets them.
You know my mom too well. You know
I can hear it, dude. I'm not buying all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Anyway, so the build up.
But yeah. Tell me about the build up to it. Like, I saw your vlog for it and saw the approaching.
Oh, you watched it? Really?
Yeah. I don't think I got to watch the whole thing, but I at least watched the first part where you could tell it was wind there. It was like I've never seen wind like that even here, and I live in the Midwest.
Well, the thing is,
I live near a cornfield.
The worst of the wind, you couldn't see it on the video because the worst of it came at night when it was already dark. So that was like the easy part. Yeah, the easy wind. But yeah, so the build up for this thing. So for those of you really quickly who don't know what a typhoon is, because I wasn't 100% sure until I came here. It's literally a hurricane. It's just from the Pacific.
Yeah. If it's Atlantic, it's a hurricane. Pacific, it's typhoon.
Yeah, well, right. Yes, yeah. And if it's Indian Ocean, it's cyclone.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah, I learned that only recently. I didn't know that either.
And then what qualifies something as a tropical storm?
Oh, that's easier. Tropical storm is all of these.
So they're all tropical. Okay.
Yeah, they're all tropical storms. It's just it evolves into a hurricane, typhoon, or cyclone at like a certain wind speed. That's when it evolves. Sure. Yeah, so they all start as a tropical storm. The build up to this though, like literally, so a few days before, Izai's telling me like, Izai's my girlfriend, by the way. I haven't mentioned that yet. If I say Izai, that's my girlfriend who I currently live with here with our now 11 cats. That's a whole nother story we'll talk about someday. But Izai was telling me that they're talking online about some typhoon that's coming, and we weren't thinking a lot about it because so the thing is we're living on the island of Cebu in the Philippines. The island of Cebu doesn't get hit with typhoons, but not like crazy, like The hard ones, they hit higher or lower. It always misses here, the really bad ones.
So you're in the center more.
The Philippines are, Cebu is in basically the center of the Philippines, yeah.
Okay.
They
So if these are the Philippines right here in my hand, because it's vaguely this direction.
Yeah.
You're about right here ish.
Yeah, we're pretty much right in the center.
Typically, what you're saying is a typhoon's either going to come from up here or down here.
Well, they come in. So here's Cebu. Say my fist is Cebu. Sorry, audio listeners can't see this. The typhoon comes in, and it normally like just goes up like this, or it comes in and it shifts down like this. It's just the way like the winds blow and the way it normally works. It just normally misses this spot. Or if it does hit this spot, there's another island in the way called Leyte. And so if one does hit, typically they're not this big. So normally a lot of the typhoon will be slowed down in Leyte. So by the time it gets to Cebu, it's not as bad. That actually does happen. Leyte is, I would love to live there actually, but I only don't because they're too typhoon prone. There was a really bad one years ago that killed a lot of people in that area. But anyway, so normally it doesn't hit. So Izai's telling me like, yeah, this typhoon's coming. But I think everybody here is just like, whatever. Like, I mean, people are preparing.
Leyte will take it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Izai's family lives in Leyte. So we were definitely a little worried about that.
Who cares about them? I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding, Izai.
But the thing is, there hasn't been a typhoon that like devastated Cebu in this sort of way since the 90s. It's been over 30 years. Yeah, so because of that, of course, everyone's not going to take it that serious, and especially the younger generation who've lived here their whole life and never had a typhoon actually do damage like this. Like, you've never seen anything like this. Why would this be any different? Well, climate change. but
Fake news.
Yeah. But yeah, so it hit that night. Dakota is doing impressions. Like, if you're listening, you couldn't see it. You're gonna have to come watch. But we were preparing, as you can see if you watch that first video. Yeah, the build up. Izai told me a few days before. I was not taking it that serious. I'm like, whatever, it's gonna be fine. And then, as it's getting closer, we're starting to prepare just only by like, when I say preparing, this is how bad we are, dude. As like vloggers, we didn't actually prepare anything. We just started filming. That's what I mean by preparing. We're like, okay, well, we better start filming in case something happens.
She was filming too?
No, I was just filming. Okay. I was like, I'm going to film. Izai does film sometimes. I'll do it on the big camera and she'll be on the GoPro. But I wasn't even taking it that serious. I guess it's because the wind started blowing. So yeah, like you saw in the video, it's like we could see, oh man, something's happening. So I just went out with the GoPro really quick and like, I'm like, yeah, here it is. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Like, there's the wind, but I don't know. It looks bad, but
I saw that in the vlog. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one other thing we did do to prepare is we took 2 street cats in to let them inside so they wouldn't get hurt if anything did happen. But
now, did they get along with your other cats?
Yeah, these 2 street cats that I'm talking about, they were actually born after we moved here. So we've known them since they were babies. Like, they trust us. They've been around our inside cats before. That's why we could bring them in. They weren't just like random street cats that we don't know at all.
So that's what you did to prepare, which was essentially nothing.
Almost nothing. Well, the one other thing we did is, so our bed, which you can see behind me. Sorry, I don't have a good studio setup, guys. It is what it is. Right. Our bed used to be on the room. Yeah, it used to be on the other side of the room, which is right under the window. So we did move the bed over here, and then we also opened our sliding glass door and our windows, because that's what they say you're supposed to do. Let the air flow through, because it can bust out the windows. It can straight bust them out. There's videos that we've seen now. Dude, there's a crazy one from these vloggers where he's filming, and their entire like huge window just like explodes into their house while he's filming. And he's like, oh my God. It was crazy, dude. But
wow.
So yeah, that's what we did to prepare. We just opened the stuff up and moved the bed and filmed. That's it. Took some cats in.
Now,
didn't buy food. Didn't buy gas. Didn't get any.
No.
We did charge our power banks. Thankfully, we did that at least. Yeah, but that's it. Didn't buy any extra water.
Now, what's a power bank?
You know what a power bank is, right?
Oh, one of those. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like a little square thing that you plug your phone into. Yeah.
I was thinking like solar panels or something.
Didn't buy any solar panels. Maybe good that we didn't, dude, because the next day we're driving around. I felt so bad for these people. Just on the road, there's like solar panels on the road that got blown off their house. I'm like, dude, you went to the trouble of installing solar panels and they still aren't going to help you. They got blew off your house. So, yeah, that was the preparation.
So, now I want to know what was going on during the storm. Like, obviously, in the vlog, I can't remember. I think in the vlog I saw you were filming and then the power went out, or the power went out and then you started filming.
No, we were already filming before the power went out, yeah.
So it went out on camera.
No. Oh, no. I mean, we were filming things before it went out, but it didn't go out on camera, no.
Okay, see, that's what I was asking.
Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
You're good. So yeah, what was going on during the storm, and how long did the storm actually last? My dad, he lived through Hurricane Andrew, which if you're from
man,
the
that
US,
is a bad hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that one was famous.
That's one of the on record biggest hurricanes to ever hit Florida or even America, I think. And my dad lived through it because I used to have a very terrible fear of tornadoes living in the Midwest.
I think everyone does a little bit if you live here. Yeah.
And my dad tried to make me feel better. I think he was trying to make me feel better, but it just kind of made me feel worse. Because he's like, yeah, tornadoes are scary, but they're over in a couple minutes. Try living through days and days of Hurricane Andrew.
Well, the thing about hurricanes versus tornadoes or typhoons or whatever, these big storms from the ocean versus tornadoes, I don't know what's worse, honestly. I think they're both bad. Of course, the hurricane's worse, but dude, our tornadoes are still terrifying because they just come like so quick at you. They're just like,
and it's almost out of nowhere too.
That's why it's scary. Yeah, saying it's fast and then it's over doesn't actually make me feel any better. It's like, okay, so I'm just chilling in my house and then suddenly the tornado rips it out of the ground and I didn't see it coming. Like, at least we had a warning.
Typhoon, typhoon, storm, hurricane, you know days in advance that's coming.
You have a chance to escape.
Usually you prepare for that, but chuckleheads like you.
Yeah, usually, you can escape too. Like people here flew to Manila. There were people who flew out of the area. And so they escaped it. I mean, you got to have the money for that or have family there.
My wife's family lives in Florida and they've had to go through a couple hurricanes and they live on the Gulf where the hurricanes are really going to hit.
She's probably had some experiences.
And they live 10 minutes from a beach too, so they feel it. They feel the hurricanes when they come by.
Yeah.
I felt bad. The last one that hit them, I remember her mom said that the eye just missed their town.
Oh, really?
So
That's bad.
They didn't. So they got most of it, but it did never cause a whole lot of devastation where they're at that I can. Where I think it just kind of floods a little bit, power and stuff.
Okay.
But it's still, they say it's scary,
It's like what I was saying, maybe they get hit with typhoons here. It happens every year, but it's never like this, right? It's like there's some flooding, there's wind, but it's not like the whole freaking region of the country is shut down. It's probably similar.
The thing about people in Florida that don't understand is when the governor comes on, for people listening outside of America, which I don't think that will be a whole lot.
Never know.
But for the governor is the leader of a state, essentially.
We have governors in other countries, bro. Like there's no states in Philippines, but they have governors. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in America, that's how it works. Anyway, is each state has a governor, and each town has a mayor, and then there's the president.
You do know other countries have states, right? Like Mexico is states.
Well, sure, but I'm talking places that don't, because I'm not sure exactly how
it's states or provinces. Yeah, it's states or provinces, and the governor will lead the state or the province. So it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Okay, well, never mind then. I just sound like a big idiot.
I'm not trying to call you out. I'm trying to
No, I know.
keep the comments from calling you out.
I've been educated now, so thank you.
I mean, I didn't honestly.
Anyway,
I didn't know before I left the U.S. I don't. How do they do it? I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to other governments. I barely pay attention to mine.
That's how people in the U.S. are. Me too.
I barely pay attention to my government. Why am I paying attention to yours?
Yeah.
Unless it's Canada, their government's great.
Okay. I don't want to say anything. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. The governor.
But if the governor of the state or wherever you live is telling you get out, you should probably get out.
Right. I understand.
Hang on. I think my cats are fighting. I'm sorry.
Well, guys, here we go.
ADHD.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. If someone in charge in a high position is telling you to leave, I totally agree. You should probably leave. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. You were looking around like I can't hear you.
No, the headphones are just weird on this thing.
Okay. So about what we did during the typhoon. So yes, you don't see this in the video. We were watching One Piece at the time. We actually ordered food. I ordered a place called S&R. So I was eating like a chicken sandwich, watching One Piece, chilling. And boom, the power goes out mid-episode. We're like, what the heck, dude? It went out earlier than expected. It wasn't that bad out yet. Like, we've had things happen here before. We're like, oh, it's windy, it's raining, but there's still power. Mm-hmm. We think they turned it off. Because they knew it was coming, so they're just preemptively turning it off so transformers aren't going to explode and things like that aren't going to happen.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So the power went off pretty quick, dude. Like, it wasn't even dark out yet. It was getting dark. It was almost dark, but the sun wasn't all the way down. And then, so during the typhoon, it was just darkness, basically, because it hit us at night. And I don't know if that's better or worse, because I don't know if you want to see how bad it is or not. But
I've seen some pictures. I looked it up because I was wanting to look up some charities to shout out on my podcast and maybe even here. Mm-hmm. But couldn't find any. The only substantial one I could find was UNICEF, and from what I've heard, I don't know if UNICEF is that great of a charity. I
really don't know. I know there were some charities here, but I don't know them off the top of my head, like that were helping for it. But what I meant though is when the storm is happening, I don't know if it's better to see it or not. Like because it was nighttime for us, so we couldn't see it happening. Basically, I'll just walk you through what actually happened. We were
how long did it take place? What was the time frame?
About 6 hours. Actually, longer than that. That was like how long it took before we reached like the eye section. Okay. And then it came back.
Did you get hit by the eye at all?
We weren't exactly in the eye, but we were close enough that it did calm down for us. Okay. And then we were able to sleep at that point, and then it did come back, and I don't know how long it was back. But by the morning, so it started here about 5 or 6 p.m. And then by morning, like 5 or 6 a.m., it was done. So it was pretty quick. I mean, it wasn't quick, but it wasn't days. At least the storm itself. The storm itself wasn't days. Right. The aftermath, of course, was weeks. But during the storm, we were on this bed right here. And before, like the way we had moved it, my desk was back behind the bed. And it had my computer and everything on it. We were thinking it's going to be like it was. Like, because we had the door and window open. Of course, it's raining. It's not even raining that hard. It's mostly the wind. That's the problem. And we think everything's fine. And then suddenly, like, we're trying to go to bed, actually. We're like, whatever, we'll just go to bed. Maybe the power will be back tomorrow morning. And suddenly, it just gets crazy. It was, like, out of nowhere. It was bad. It was already windy. And then it's like a switch flipped. And we could tell something is different. Suddenly, my computer's getting wet. Like, water's coming into this room. And, yeah, we have a sliding glass door, but it goes to a balcony that has, like, a roof over it. So water, it shouldn't be raining there.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, Izai, hold on. I'm going to grab my computer. At first, I'm like, I'm just going to get my computer out of here. Let's get the electronics out of this room. Because we have a second room that they can go in that has no windows.
Good call.
Yeah, we're just gonna put it in there. As I'm moving it, it's just getting worse and worse, and I'm like, Izai, help! Like, you gotta get up, you gotta help. Everything is getting soaked. Like, the floor is starting to flood. So much water is coming into this room. I'm like, what the F is happening? And I didn't get it on camera because it was so crazy. Like, we're just going so quick. But there was a point when it looked like it was storming in the room. Like, just off this little crack in the door that we had open. There was literally, like, water falling in the room. It was crazy.
God.
Yeah, like looking in front of you. You know when you're outside and it's raining really hard and you can't even see far in front of you? That's what it was like in the room. So we're just throwing everything out that we can, and every single thing got moved to the other room to try to save it. And then we
bed included?
Bed included, yeah. We moved the bed, we moved everything.
And
then we
cats?
Well, dude, the cats. We thought they would be scared. No, you don't know, dude. It's not how you would think. Or maybe it is. You would think they would be scared. They get scared with stuff like this. But later in the night, I go down when it's still happening. Our windows are like the water's coming through our window downstairs. The floor is flooding. And the cats are just like walking through the water, getting food. One of them was up on its cat tree, fully passed out, like just totally asleep.
Whatever.
I'm like, bro, the world sounds like it's being destroyed right now. How are you asleep? Yeah. But the craziest part was the wind, for sure.
What was my next question?
Like hearing the wind, bro. You don't.
How scared were you? How scared exactly were you? Like, was it very, very scary? Or obviously it's tense and stressful, but were you actually scared ever at all?
That's a good question. So before it, I wasn't scared at all. And then when it started, I had no fear, really. But yeah, when the water started to come in on my stuff, my computer, I got scared. Hello. One of Dakota's cats is in the...
You got Luffy. This is Chopper.
Hello, Chopper. But
he hates me.
When things started to get wet, I got scared for my stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as being scared for like my life, I think it did happen eventually. Like once we had moved stuff out and we were just hearing the wind, because we would try to go to the window to look out and just realized like we could literally hear people's houses being destroyed. Like you could hear their roofs being ripped off and things being knocked over, and the wind just like hitting at that window, being by it. Yeah, there was a point where it was pretty scary, actually. I wouldn't say I wasn't freaking out or anything like that. Not like that, but there was fear there for sure. There was just the thought of like, will our apartment hold? Like, we're lucky our apartment's totally made of concrete. It's super stable. So it had no damage, really.
Good. That was going to be one of my questions. Was if any of your property was damaged.
No. Well, our property, not the apartment, but yeah, the apartment was fine. Somehow our motorbike was fine, which is amazing because I've seen pictures.
That was going to be my other question. Yeah, I wanted to see how your bike was because I know you rely on that to travel.
Yeah. I saw a lot of videos of people's bikes that were completely like blown over, and cars with shattered windows and windshields, things like that from stuff hitting it or the wind just knocking it out. I think we were lucky because the way our apartment is set up, there's like a path. It's kind of hard to explain, between two buildings where the wind can blow through instead of directly against. So I think that's why we got lucky. It was able to blow through the apartment area and not
a wind tunnel effect rather
exactly
than a shield. Okay.
It was still crazy though, but if it was hitting us directly on, I think it would have been way worse for us. Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't. Now the other thing, there's two more things I want to know and then we can move on.
Sure.
I want to know, like you said, the power was out I want to know how long was the power out and the internet.
Okay.
And I want to know, and how you got around that. And then I want to know, before that, I want to know, what was your initial reaction when you saw the day after?
Oh, the morning after.
The morning after, yeah. What was that like? What was your reaction there?
Just so you guys know, you can see all of this on my channel, We Wonder. I've logged all of this. So if you want to see it in more detail, you totally can.
I hadn't seen that one yet, so I do apologize.
I did 10 videos about it. Dakota's very up to date on the We Wonder channel.
I only watch it when I get it. Well, I only watch it when it gets recommended because I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm not actively thinking about it, and that's my bad.
No,
But
it's totally fine.
When it gets recommended, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, it's fine. I was putting a lot out back to back at that time
Okay.
when I eventually could post. So the morning after, yeah, we went out. We knew it was going to be bad, but for sure I wasn't expecting it to be as bad as it was. The best way to describe it, and you hear this sort of thing when you see stuff like this, but I really felt it, was that it was like a bomb went off. Like it literally just looked like someone dropped a bomb, because our apartment was okay. All the like plants, they have like it's not really a garden, but they're like growing some things out there. Totally broken in half, knocked down. Everything was down. Basketball goal of our neighbor was like down. Everything's down. And so I'm like, oh, that's pretty bad, but it's not that bad. But when we went out to walk around the town is when we realized how bad it is. Like, it was so bad that even the metal poles, like the electric poles, like thick metal, they're snapped in half, like knocked over. That's insane to me. And like everything metal, it's so much stuff looks like it was melted. Like the wind just like reshaped it. I cannot imagine. Like I feel like if I would have went out there and just like opened my arms, the wind would have taken me. Like it looked like it was that
Kangaroo
bad.
Jack.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Kangaroo Jack since I was a kid, man.
He put this when the sandstorm comes and he's like embracing it, and then it just flies away.
Yeah, like that. But a lot of people's houses were gone, like when we were walking around. At the very least, most people had lost their roof, which of course sucks. And then we saw a few people whose houses were completely gone. But the thing about Filipinos is like, they just like smile. Well, it's not just resilient. Everyone always says that, like, oh, the people here are resilient, they'll rebuild, right? But with Filipinos,
let me guess.
Okay.
It's not that they're resilient; they're just positive, right? Is it
Yeah.
Positivity. They're just positive.
Yes.
Happens.
Well, it's not just happens. They're like laughing. Literally, like we're talking to these people and they're like pointing at their house that's destroyed, and they're like, my house is gone.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess I live on the street. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. But
good thing I have insurance.
we even got comments on our video that's like, there's way too much smiling and laughing in this video. And I'm like, bro, have you ever been to the Philippines? Like, this is just how it is. Like, they're not going to...
They're just happy.
Yeah, they're not going to sit here and cry about it. Like, it's not going to happen. But, yeah, I was shocked because it was everywhere. Everything was destroyed. I mean, the best way to see it is just to watch those videos and see it.
Okay.
But,
so now I want to know, internet and power were both out. How long and what did you do to compensate or cope with that? Because I know me, if the power was out as long as it was for you, I'd go crazy.
Dakota, what you have to know is it wasn't just the power and the internet. It was also the water.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Did you know that?
Oh, my God. How did you poop?
Yeah. How did we poop?
Did you have to go poop in a hole?
No, thankfully. So we're lucky. I'll talk about the water first and how long it was out. Water was out for about 2 weeks.
Oh, my God.
Power was out for like 3.5 weeks, and then internet was like a month. Yeah. So with water first, we were lucky. We were so lucky with the water because one of our neighbors has, the pump. Like the pump at like the park by my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have one. One of our neighbors does. So we were super lucky. I mean, it sucked. Don't get me wrong. It still sucked. We were lucky we could just go pump water into buckets. We'd have to do like 5 or 6 trips a day, and we're filling up containers that we have. And it's hot, dude. It's Philippines. Like, just because a typhoon just happened, the next morning, it was like 90 out again. Yeah, 90 and humid. So we're going back and forth with these buckets, like sweating like crazy. We can't even like shower unless we get this water. And then, of course, none of it's going to be hot because they're getting it out of the ground. It's cold as F. So you're like pouring it on yourself to try to take a bath.
You can't even warm it up.
Yeah, exactly.
No
Sorry,
power.
my cat's running out. Yeah, that's what I'll normally do. So here in the Philippines, like we don't actually have a heater currently. A lot of places do, but we don't have a heater on in our apartment just because we were trying to save money, like for the water. So I just
Yeah.
heat up water. I just boil water and then like mix it together in a big bucket, and it's definitely hot enough. It feels great. Like, and I use the bucket like Filipino way. I'm so used to it now. Sounds crazy, but I'm so used to it now. But I hate the cold water, dude. And so taking bath with the cold water, it sucked for so long. I like avoided taking baths during that time. I'm sure we both stank.
Ooh, ooh, and I know what happens to you when you don't shower for a couple days.
Well, I didn't go for a couple days. It'd be like a day, like just miss
Oh,
a
okay.
day and then
I
shower the
got
next
you.
day. Yeah. But of course, also with no water, it means no laundry can be done. Um so yeah.
Crusty clothes.
Mm-hmm. And
Oof.
also, with you asked about pooping, you just have to like take a bucket and like pour water in the toilet to get it to flush.
Oh, okay.
But
But the water wouldn't run. It wouldn't fill back up.
it doesn't run, yeah. So we're wasting water getting it to flush, and then it's like, oh, now I want to take a bath. I need to go get
I
more
need to go get some
water.
more water.
It really sucked,
I
but
just pooped. I got to take a bath.
yeah, but we had nothing better to do anyway, so might as well go get water. But
We're
it's
just
hot.
pooping and we're just pooping and getting water. That's our life for a couple weeks.
As far as drinking water, because you can't drink the water here, we were super lucky. Our neighbors like took care of it. We already had like 3 big like 5-gallon containers of water beforehand that we just had. It wasn't out of preparation. It's just because you have to drink water that way here. That's just how it is. We were so lucky because the lines to get water, dude, were so long. People were waiting days to
Oh
fill
my
up their
god.
jugs of water because the only places that you could get it are those who had the foresight to have a generator so that they could still purify the water. So you can't just go everywhere to get it. So yeah, the lines were like around, like down the street, around the corner, continuing down the street, and then they're like eventually giving out numbers, like, okay, here's your number, you'll come back this day, and hopefully you can get it then. So
Like a Disney Fast Pass, but with water.
yeah, and you had to do it that way because all the water in the grocery stores, when the grocery stores eventually opened again, was gone immediately. People just hoarded that right away. Every ounce of water was gone. So we bought Gatorade and apple juice. That's the first thing we bought to drink. But then after a couple of days, that was all
Gatorade
gone.
hydrates you at least, but then you're gonna get the runs from the Gatorade and the apple juice.
Yeah, but then after a couple of days, we want to restock on that. It's gone now. Everyone else is doing the same thing. Yeah,
You set the trend.
maybe. Or we realized before the trend happened, like, oh, we can drink this. This will hydrate us. Yeah, but as far as power, there was nothing we could do to really get around it. Like we just had to live with it. So the only thing we had was our power banks. So we could charge up our phones, but that only lasts so long. Eventually those power banks are going to die. So we were charging up our phones trying to get signal because there also wasn't signal. There was that first day when I wrote you on Izai's phone. Then the next day her signal stopped working. And then I was able to get signal that next day, but then after that it stopped working. So neither of us had signal for weeks. We weren't able to contact like my family or anything. Eventually I got signal and I had messages from my brother writing me like, "Write back to mom. She's so worried about you, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, you think I'm just ignoring mom?
Yeah.
Like clearly I don't have signal.
Like I'm sure your family was like the first thing on your mind,
Yeah.
even before me.
Yeah, I wrote them. We wrote them first, of course. Yeah. But so yeah, we just had
Which
to
I would
deal
hope
with it.
so.
Yeah, we just had to deal with it, and so Izai got this ukulele back here for Christmas, so she spent most of her time playing that, and I spent
see
most
your
of my
guitar.
time. Yeah, that was afterwards. I wish I would have had that during no power. I would have probably been a master by now because I have nothing better to do.
You guys gonna
But
start playing together?
we'll see. Ukulele and guitar and electric guitar aren't exactly the acoustic guitar would match it a lot better, but you can still do something.
It depends on how you do it, but yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if I keep the signal clean, don't put any distortion, it should be all right. But
What you gotta
anyway.
do is get a slide.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I just read most of the time. I want it to work out too, but it's like we have no power. It's the Philippines. It's hot. We have no air conditioner or even fan. Remember, you can't even run a fan because there's no power. So you're just sweating buckets. Like, I'm not working out. F that. Yeah.
I don't blame you.
But the biggest issue I think was food. Actually, that's when I got scared. You asked if I was ever scared. That's the one thing I actually ended up being scared about at one point was getting food, because it was like the 2 days after. We're like walking around. We were staying at a hotel that we had booked beforehand, luckily enough, and they had power and water. It was so lucky. But we're walking around trying to find somewhere to eat, and there's literally nothing open, like nothing. We even went into 7-Eleven. We're like starving. We went into 7-Eleven like desperate to find something, and all they have is like Reese cups and Snickers, which is great. I love candy, but like when you're hungry
It's
for
not
a meal,
you need meal.
yeah, I don't need candy right now.
Sustenance.
I love candy, but I cannot just eat candy. I'm gonna die. I'm not 8 anymore. I could do it then, but not anymore. But that's the one thing that scared me was finding food. Because even here, we had food in our refrigerator beforehand. It's all bad within a day.
Yeah.
And the stuff that we still had, we couldn't cook anything. All our stuff is electric, like our stove, our oven. We go electric for all of it. We don't mess around with the gas.
I don't blame you.
Well, now I
It's
kind of
just
wish we
another
would
bill.
have. Exactly. But now I kind of wish we would have, because it's like we had some neighbors who were able to cook things because they use gas. They just light it with like a lighter.
What you should do, if this were to ever happen in the future, doubtful.
You never know, but yeah.
I mean, at least while you're there,
Mm.
it's probably a little unlikely.
Yeah.
Get one of those mini propane powered grills.
Well, that's what people here have. That's what's
okay.
common here. Yeah, they just buy those. But we were thinking about it, of course, after the typhoon happened. But of course, they're sold
Hindsight's
out.
2020.
Well, they're all sold out. Yeah. So you go to the grocery store or any store everywhere. What's sold out is anything that uses gas to cook. All that's sold out. Flashlights are sold out. Candles are sold out. Everything's sold out. So it's like, cool. We just have to deal with what we have. Luckily, we had some flashlights, so we were able to see.
That's good.
Thank God for my mom. She bought those for us. Like the last Christmas I spent in the U.S., she gave them to us because she was like, maybe you can use it for caves because they're a waterproof flashlight. And we did.
Okay.
But they helped a lot during the typhoon time.
Helped in your own cave.
Yeah. But eventually we worked through it and we just spent most of our time eating peanut butter on bread and like mangoes or bananas when we could find them to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost all we ate. And then when things got a little later, people started roasting chickens again. It's really normal to find roasted chicken along the side of the road here, like spinning on the thing, like a whole chicken. So we started buying those for dinner. Yeah, we started buying those for dinner every night. Eventually, and that was nice, but that wasn't for a couple weeks. Yeah, so we spent weeks just eating like bread and peanut butter every meal. I love bread and I love peanut butter, but yeah, not that great.
You're probably going to be sick of it for a while now.
I did buy some more peanut butter recently.
Well, that combo.
That combo for sure. That combo, I'm over it. The one other thing I do want to mention before we can move on from it, if you don't have any other questions about it, is the gas.
Yeah.
Fuel was actually the most difficult of everything. And ATM. We waited in line for 6 hours to get to an ATM. And then they'd only allowed us to extract $100 only after 6 hours. So we're going to have to go back, of course, because we got
back in line.
Yeah, exactly. It was insane. 6 hours under the sun, Dakota. This is not inside of a mall or somewhere. It's under the Philippines, near the equator, sun. Like, I remember afterwards, I was dying. Like, I thought I was going to pass out afterwards, like from heat exhaustion. And that was so frustrating because we like barely missed the cutoff too. They put a cutoff at noon, and we had already been in line for like 5 hours when they made this cutoff. And at that point, it's like 11:10, and we're like, oh my God, we're not even at the front. We like barely made it. Anyway, And then fuel. The last thing, fuel. Getting fuel was difficult because half the gas stations were destroyed. And then the ones that remained, people were either buying fuel for their generators, for those who had a generator, or they were hoarding fuel. So people were coming with huge containers trying to hoard as much fuel as possible. So it made the lines insane. We have never seen something like that. Like the line to get gas would go miles down the street. And you literally have to be in your car or on your motorbike overnight to get just to fill it up and get gas.
And hoarding fuel is a bad idea for not only the obvious, but gas gets dirty after sitting for a long time.
It does. Well,
and can really hurt your vehicle.
There's one other thing that with the gas, people are hoarding fuel.
Petrol,
don't forget,
if you will.
They gasolina.
Gasoline. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
But people are hoarding fuel, but they're also now burning a lot of candles because there's no power. A lot of fires happened. They're also, it's the tradition here during Christmas and New Year's is an insane amount of fireworks.
Oh, no.
So they actually prohibited it, but nobody listened. Nobody cared. That's how it is in the Philippines. No one's going to care, and no one's going to stop them. Yeah, nobody's going to stop them anyway. So the fireworks are going off like crazy, and it's like, dude, we have first a ton of dead wood because of everything that was knocked down by the typhoon. Also have no water to put it out if there's a fire, and we have tons of gasoline everywhere, and you're shooting fireworks off. Like, that was the moment where I was like, people are insane. Are you crazy? Like, the whole island was a fire hazard. Literally. Somehow it was okay, but I thought it was pretty crazy.
Well, that all sounds very harrowing. Let's see, what was the thing we were going to say? Honestly, I'm thinking we could wrap it up right here for now.
You're done?
Only because I got to pee, and I still got to eat dinner, and I got work at 6 in the morning, and it's 8:30 at night over here.
Right.
I really want to keep going. If I didn't have overtime tomorrow, I'd probably stay up a little later and deal with it, but I'm working overtime this week.
No, I think this is a good stopping point. Yeah.
I agree, and for preference, not every stopping point will be this abrupt. This is just, we got a little bit of a late start today than we wanted to. Again, we're still getting going.
Oh, and we still had to set up. We weren't ready when we started. Yeah. No. It's the first time.
Yeah, well, next time, I'll make sure that my mic is set up and my mic is ready, and we'll get it to where we won't have to end it as abruptly as we've done right now. Let's see.
Yeah, how do we outro these? This is our first time. Well, we wanted to do recommendations, so whoever's hosting is supposed to bring a recommendation. What do you got?
All right. So I'll cheat this time, and I'll do 2. Because I already brought it up. And I'm going to recommend Alita Battle Angel and Battle Angel Alita.
What's
now,
the
Alita
difference?
Battle Angel is the movie.
Okay.
Battle Angel Alita is the manga. I highly, highly, highly recommend reading the manga first. You're going to have fun with the movie regardless. Like, if you just want to watch the movie, you're going to like it. You're going to have fun. It's just a fun. It's only PG-13, but they get away with a lot of violence in that movie. Like, a lot. Like, there's a dude where she straight up shoves her arm into a dude's eye.
Okay.
Her whole arm.
Okay.
And it's stuff like that.
So that's your recommendation? Alita in general?
Alita in general, but the manga, if you want to read the manga, you're going to get a lot more of the little references.
Of course.
Now, I read the manga before the movie. I read the manga. The movie came out beginning of 2019. And I choked.
I know. 2019, it was a better time. I remember.
Yeah. Whew. It really was. But 2018, I read the Alita manga because my first thought was, you got Robert Rodriguez directing, who is, you would know him from the Spy Kids movie and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but he's done all kinds of other stuff. He's the guy who did those movies. and James Cameron writing the script and screenplay. And that's Avatar, Titanic, Aliens, Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
That James Cameron. And apparently he owned... The reason you've never seen any Alita anime is because he owns Alita. He bought the rights to Alita, and he's been trying to make this movie for like 30 years.
Of course.
Or over 20 years. He was trying to make it for close to 20 years. And he could never do it. I think he got wrapped up in Avatar, all the Avatar sequels. So he still did the screenplay, but then handed directing and everything off to Robert Rodriguez. And man, what they turned out. There are scenes in that movie that are literally straight off the page.
All right, bro. I think you might be talking it up too much. Let them go see it. Be careful, yeah. You know how it can be if you talk something up too much. They might
right.
Yeah. Just so
well, I'll hype things up, but I've gotten better about overhyping things. But yeah, I can't recommend Alita enough. You will like it.
Okay, and maybe I'll watch it. Probably won't, but I probably will eventually. I want to watch it, but yeah, Izai and I are in the middle of One Piece. We can talk more about that another time. But guys, the last thing I will say on here is leave any questions or comments down below, because another thing we are interested in trying to do sometimes at least is read some of your questions or comments on the show and reply to you guys.
Absolutely.
We get the conversation going, not just between us, but with everyone. Obviously, we don't have any yet, so we can't do that. Well, you're hosting, so however you want to end it, I don't know if you're going to have a signature way or what. You're going to come up with something right now? What? Take us out of here.
Pibbledy poo. Let's go make some food. That won't be the outro, but thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe this time I'll go for give you a taste of how I outro my Dragon Ball show. Do you have any questions regarding what you heard about today? Do you want to know where we've been? Or do you not care at all? Ask us about this in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on A Podcast for Nerds.